What's up, everybody? This is Semper BRT, week 5 of Finding My Way with Toad. Last week we took a little week off. We're on vacation, but we're back stronger than ever and ready to hit the ground running. Let's go. This week. So, how's your trades been going this week or last 2 weeks? Green, green.
Oh yeah, because there were 2 weeks. Pretty good. Pretty good in the actual technical. Um Overcoming still impulsive, right? But the actual technical trade's pretty good.
As far as breaking your rules, have you tracked that? Hey, I went red on this trade. Were you able to decide, check if you broke any of your rules?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Usually structure. Usually that's right as the number one. Yeah, if I'm against the structure, that's actually there are a couple. I don't know which exact ones it was out of the last 2 weeks, but yeah, that's usually the number one. If I'm going against my structure, and usually if I'm against the structure, I'm also against my little spaghetti EMA stack.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, I've been
sp
getting a lot of questions on the structure and how I use it, what's the best way to use it. Like I told you 2 weeks ago, the structure is the first thing that I look for before even trying to get into a trade. If it's if it's s- if it's with trend and with structure, then the rules kind of change a little bit. But when it's against the trend and it's with the structure, the rules apply, right? So if it's a downtrend and we break the we break a previous lower high, those plays tend to work out more for me because I can identify the potential reversal, especially if there's a base. If there's a
Right.
base forming, uh, then you can just look for the structure break, and then you can either, like you say, fib out the leg that breaks structure. Sometimes that's a 5 minute candle, right? If you're using the 1 minute.
Yeah.
And of course, that being said, the 5 minute structure is way stronger than the 1 minute structure, obviously. So look at your different time frames and look for the structure on both, right? Because the 1 minute structure might be a little bit weaker, but it might give you a better entry to the 5 minute structure, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I don't know if you can find those trades so you can dig deeper.
Yeah. No, I could do that. Should do that. Actually, take last week since we didn't have Finding My Way. I took some time and ran through those. I have notes on those, but not this week yet since we're doing this.
Go for it. Or just any trade that you want to recap that you feel
Yeah,
like.
let's do it. I'll go in order. We've got, I think this one. Why don't I have full screenshots here? All right, we're doing the next one.
And
Oh yeah.
you still haven't found out if you're better at longs than if you're better at shorts.
No. No, I'm not totally sure that I wouldn't I try to not be too directionally biased. I am kind of long bias in general, but I try not to be.
As
All right. Yeah.
for me, for the longest time since I started trading, I could never see the short.
Right.
Even though it was the same pattern, like a fresh high dump, right? But I could see the fresh low squeeze easier than I could see the fresh high dump. The only way that I could see it is if you go to TOS and you put the little negative sign before the ticker, then it inverts the chart. That's the only way that I was able to take shorts until um I went through finding my way with Easy, and then he was better at shorts, so that made me better. And then I started stacking that with structure, and then I was just like, okay, now you're a little bit both. You could go both ways. And for some traders, especially if you're a new trader and you're struggling to either catch shorts or catch longs, you might be better at the opposite one, right? So if you're having a hard time catching longs, but like you said earlier, seems like shorts move faster. That might be just to somebody that's better at shorts, uh,
Yeah.
compared to the one that goes long, right? Um, and something I think it was Mark Douglas or Al Brooks said, the biggest trade, right? If you're trying to swing for like the biggest trade of the day or whatever, that's going to be the hardest trade to catch. It's also
Right.
going to be the hardest one to get into, right? Because you're fighting that you're having that fight in your head that how am I gonna get in after it just dumped three candles? How am I gonna get in long? So you're having that psychological battle inside your head when you should know as long as you follow your strategy and your system, you have to take that trade. Whether whether it's three dumping red candles into a long trade, you might bottom ticket, right? But that just takes practice, getting used to it and getting used to how the candles develop on your levels or your st or whatever levels you're using. Um, because it coming in as a newbie, not that you're new, but as a new trader coming in and you still have that mindset and that like I like the way that Easy gets into trades where he gets in on a red candle to go long and in on a green candle to go short. That can bite you in the butt, but you need to have that experience because you have to think inverse of what you're thinking as a normal person. And that's something that Mark Douglas talks about, where you're having that internal conversation and you're thinking like a normal person when you should be thinking like a trader. Getting in the trade, getting in the trade when it's going down and long to get in long and getting in the trade on the top side to go short. Just like Brandon always says, never long tops and never short bottoms. So you got to think the opposite, right? As a newbie will come in and they'll see a dumping red candle and they won't wait for the retrace and get in at the bottom. And next thing you know, it retraces and then it smokes your account or it smokes your stop and loss. And you're like, fuck, I knew it was gonna go down. And and it retraces and then it continues dumping. That's just impatience for you not waiting for that retrace and trying to predict that it's going to go down. Even though it does go down, you didn't get in on the best place, right? Because you had to wait for that retrace. And something that helps with that is fibbing out the 5 minute candle, waiting for the GP to get tagged, the golden pocket to get tagged, and then get in, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's something I can learn because I do like to go in on green to keep going green. Um, like following the trend, but that can definitely bite me in the ass. I mean, here's one, this one I'm about to do here, and I was thinking when I first got into it, I was thinking I'm with the 15-minute trend, and I could have some nice targets here, to continue on a higher low and maybe get out here around the high, and then come out one here before we even break this big red 15. Retap the high, and then I can look for a reentry if I want to.
Oh, damn, that's a
But
60-minute?
this is
That
oh yeah,
feels,
this is 60. Yeah.
because I was gonna
Um,
say that one just broke structure, right? Because you,
yeah.
so if it did go against you, I'm not sure if it did, but if it did go against you, it broke this structure right here. So next thing you know, you can go like this.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And this is one where on the technical I broke my rules and what was this on the 29th? Although I think I don't think I intentionally broke my rules as much as I misidentified the structure.
Yeah.
Because I was looking on the 2 minute up on the top left here, or this is actually a 1 minute, and I was like, all right, a nice pump closes right above the 50, above all the structure, but ultimately this was actually, and we already had a tag in the 100, that ultimately this is actually a lower high, and I changed the zoom
Uh,
around, so it's a little confusing.
Put it back.
Yeah, this right here.
So like it broke the structure up, right? So if this is the same play as this, right?
Yeah, this is all the same account.
Okay, so if this one would have came down and then retested the structure, that should have been your entry at the retest of the structure, because that's support, right?
Yeah.
It's support. And then if you were long, I would look at this structure right here. So,
Hmm.
or the moving average. Like, okay, if I'm gonna play this, I'm waiting for the structure to retest for support, and I'm taking it to the moving average, or looking at price action when it hits that moving average, and then take it up to up here. And then that's it. Because then it, like I said, it broke the 60-minute structure so it can pop up, right? It'll pop up to right here and then go back down.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it did that, but that's what I would be assuming that it would do. Even though you could catch that scalp.
Yeah, true. Although I've said before, I'm trying to not do that, and I don't. I'm pretty sure this is a misidentification of the structure here. I should have at least waited for that entry. This ultimately, and also though on the bigger time frame, the easier to see stuff. We had this big seller MACD wave, right, and this purple line on my RSI is the 50, and you got the green on the 30. Uh, Ultimately, we're below the 50 and we're back testing the 50. And we got a small buyer wave on the 5, and now it's kind of curling back down. So it's like this actually would have been a great entry short because ultimately this went against me here. I went and this is where I got long, right? And if I waited for the back test there, I actually wouldn't have gotten it because it went up before it went down. My entry candle was this 1 minute right here, right? And got up, yeah, I mean, just close to the open of this big red, just near the 100, dumped back down. And then I recognized that it was probably a short here, so I got in. I realized I was going against the structure. I realized that we're back testing the 50. I realized that on the 15 minute we're consolidating under here. Um, and that we back tested. I like to go off the first tag of my red, the first tag of this green, the first tag of the 100 and stuff like that. So I actually got in short here, uh, which wasn't the low, right? I didn't wasn't shorting the actual low. I still had like 30 points to, well, actually I had like 45 points all the way to the low, but I had 20 points just to the bottom of this green candle. So then once I got stopped out of that, I turned around and found a spot to go short. Although still probably too aggressive. It would have been ideal if I had recognized it sooner and got in around here. So I turned around and actually went short. And this right here was what, the 5 minute? Um, yeah, so I just have the 5 minute here. It's the five, yeah. So here on the right here was the entry. Oh, I messed you drawing up.
Yeah, right here.
Um,
Yeah, no worries.
yeah, so here's that entry here. Um, and then it shot down to my first target. No problem, a full body red candle. So I was glad that I went and recognized that swap of the structure here. And then thinking about how actually this, if I go back here on the 15, it broke the structure, and now we're in short. And like you said, on the 60, it broke the structure, and we kind of got that back test. So then looking to kind of dig it down, see if I could catch the trend to the bottom side. But then ultimately it came back, so I took my target here, and it came back, and I stopped out in some profit.
So
Um,
something that Decano asked me was because he's been asking me a lot of questions about structure and like
You're
how
far from the mic, Semper. Just heads up.
something that Decano always asks me is that he targets this structure right here, right? He was asking me, is it good to target this structure, like the longer term structure, or the not the most recent structure, right? Because this is structure, even though it's kind of flat, I would consider that structure, right?
yeah,
Because it broke it and then it retested it. Yes, you can target this, but you got to pay attention to the most recent structure because if it catches it, uh, because this, like, let's say this bounced up and then it started holding above all these little, all these candles right here,
yeah,
right? And you got in short right there. And you started holding and it broke back above it and it starts holding and it starts doing like higher lows, micro higher lows. And your stops will appear, you might think about stopping out early or just like give it room to play, right? Give it room to breathe and not get stopped out too early. Can you cycle through another screenshot? I seen one that was perfect. When
um,
you were explaining,
I
yeah,
could,
right here is fine. So he had a screenshot like this, right? And it was coming down like over here, and his target was this structure. And my answer to him is like, is he asked, is it good to target this? And I said, yes, but we still have the most recent structure, which is this one, to get past, right? And if you look at back over here, it's more structure over here. So like I was saying a little bit earlier, is sometimes this will catch it, create a higher low, and run. Now, I'm not saying that you can't target this structure, but you need to get past this structure. This would be nice once it lost that structure, right? So if it breaks, that structure comes back,
mm,
creates a lower high, and then you can follow it down.
that makes sense.
Because then you have this structure, but there's like, remember how we were talking earlier? There's like no structure in these legs. Maybe a little bit right here
Right.
and a little bit right here.
Oh, yeah.
And let's say there's no structure. Let's say there's a leg like this, and you have structure right here, and it's coming down like this, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna get in right here at the break of this structure and the retest. So you get in short there, and then you're targeting this, right? And you're like, fuck, I'm gonna get it, and then next thing you know, it bounces, right? And you're like, why? Simp always says target that, but look behind the struck, behind that leg, behind his leg, behind his leg, there's structure.
Yeah.
See that? So like that play that I was calling you, letting you get where I got in short right here, right? You got in short right here to target down here. What you want to do is if you see a leg like this, is pay attention to the structure behind it right here. And when it hits that structure right there, that's where you're like, okay, it if it hits and bounces, right? Because you got in right here, and let's just say your stop's up here. Your stop. Now your entry's right there. And then it catches that structure right here. It catches that structure. Don't mind my ugly drawings, but you want to pay attention at how it bounces off of this structure right here. If it bounces pretty strong, and strong meaning like it hit and it just bounces. It creates a big doji hammer, right? It creates one of these.
Yeah.
You're like, you might want to think about profit stopping and reassessing. If you if it hits that structure and it stays glued to that level, and it stays glued to this level uh, right here, or no, sorry, right here, then you know it looks weak, and you could probably lock some in 50%, 75%, and then let the last ride to down here. You just got to be cognizant of like, okay, you're like, okay, we got structure, we got a leg, we got structure right here, we got structure right here. Usually what I like to do is I'll put a horizontal line right there.
Yeah.
So like that, or you can do a zone like I told you, do a little zone of the overlapping two candles. So let's just say you got a zone like that and
Yeah.
you got it right there, and now you're just paying attention to this zone. If it catches it, then you might want to think about profit stopping or locking some in and letting one ride for a potential hit your last target, or let it breathe, let it breathe. But if it starts creating higher lows, you might want to think about stopping out. Instead of stopping out way up here red, you can stop out green, reassess, and re-enter.
Yeah.
And that's something that Brandon does really good is he'll take a red, but he knows where his stops are, and then he'll say like, okay, if it does this, if it gets over this over under level, then I'm gonna switch bias, or I'm gonna stop out and switch bias to the long side.
Right.
And that's something that having a good stop, a defined stop can help you, right? Instead of getting mad and getting on tilt because you took a red, just say, hey, this is just part of the learning. I gotta take a red, cut it, reset, go hit the heavy bag, or go do some push-ups, go sprint, go do something to release that those hormones. Because those
Hmm.
hormones are something that will put you on tilt a lot easier. And you'll feel it. You'll feel your heart rate raising. Uh, you might start sweating if you're in a lot. Um, but yeah, you want to be able to reset your trade and be able to look at the structure and see if it's gonna catch
Yeah.
that structure. And I'm not saying stop out at the structure, just pay attention. Be cognizant of what's going on around that structure because it can catch it, especially if there's a big green candle or there's a big candle near that structure. So if there's a big red candle right here going down, right? Let's just say it was a big red candle, then you could expect for the bears to be there and help you go down to this structure right here. But if it was a one big green candle up and like three red candles down, then you know the bulls are there and they could catch it and bounce it. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just pay attention to that. At the structures, is there one big green candle or one big red candle? So like that you can try to identify if the bears or the bulls are in this structure. Yeah, go for it.
Makes sense. Yeah, you talked about this last week a bit. Here's actually just an example here, right? All these little small green
Yep.
candles get wiped by this one big red, and then this big red can't even get past probably the golden pocket this
Yep.
is.
So you know the bears are there. Bears are in
Yeah.
that structure.
Yeah. So in this one, going on that short, ultimately took one of my targets and got stopped out in profit. with a stop above this right above this red candle. Um, and then we come up to near the close of this green. I mean this big red here. We put in a 2 minute doji. So I'm like, all right, perhaps that's the reload here, and I go in for trying to continue on to this short. Right. So then, what do you think about this entry?
It's good. It's good because it tests this structure over here, or whatever this whole structure is. And usually, I like to do this overlap right here, and you enter right on it, and you would stop either a break above this moving average, or right here, or way up
Yeah.
here. Those are three good stops that you can have if you're entering short. But like I said, you gotta see what it does in this area.
Yeah.
If it starts getting above it, it's creating a higher low, higher lows, then you might want to think about stopping out a little earlier. Instead of taking 250 red, maybe take 150 red,
Yeah.
right? Because you can always reassess because it can do this, scam up here, scam high, and then do this, and then go down to your target.
Right. Yeah, I like that I was at least with the structure, but I didn't really wait for much red confirmation other than a doji that really didn't even that really opened above the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's something that another thing that I look at is like I'll pay attention to this doji, and I want the last, this is a 2 minute candle.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe the last minute of this candle, I want to see the body starting to close below the body of this doji.
Hmm.
And then you can take it, be like, okay, it looks weak. I'm getting in down to at least right here, right? But if you see it holding the body and holding above it, holding up here, then you might want to just wait a little bit. And that's gonna be screen time, screen time, screen time, right? It hits your structure. You're like, okay, I got the structure confirmation. I got a lower high confirmation. What else do I see? Do I see MACD? MACD looks a little bit bullish. RSI looks a little bit bullish. I might want to wait a little bit more because maybe one of these will create a lower high and go down, right? And then MACD will be a no buy wave right here,
Yeah.
and then go down.
Right.
Sometimes, even this week, Brandon, uh, 2 or 3 times, uh, eh, 2 or 3 times this week, he's like RSI MACD's out the door. Nothing's working other than anchor VWAPs or other than fibs. That's all he's using. All the daily fibs, prior day fib, or weekly fib. That's the only thing working. So being able to identify that is is taking your trading to a whole nother level, right? But he has what, 14, 15 years of experience on us.
Yeah.
So, but when he explains it, you can see like, okay, it was a lower, it was going up, and the MACD and all that was saying bullish, but price action or the fibs are saying bearish.
Yeah.
And learning to trust an indicator versus a drawing tool, that's something that you need to just
Order
practice.
submitted.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
How did this trade work out?
Uh, this one, I actually, pretty sure I got stopped out. Yeah, I got stopped
Well,
out
it hit
here.
your first target, right?
No, I actually got stopped. I was in short. I was in short here, with the 5 minute structure, and I actually, yeah, I got stopped as I entered short, right around here, um, on this 5 minute chart, and then ultimately came through and stopped me out, up here because I wasn't gonna hold anything past, this wick
Yep.
was my, line in the sand,
The
and
what
then,
the 2 minute kind of was telling you higher lows, right? Because it held,
Order canceled.
it looks like it held this, and then it started creating higher lows. Go back to the other one.
Order submitted.
Yeah,
Oh, who's trading?
somebody.
Somebody's submitting some orders.
Uh, not me.
Yeah, for real. This was definitely like multiple. This right here says to me like maybe just that it's not decided. I mean, this is now the 1 minute over on the left here, and it's just not like really decided. Multiple dojis, and then we closed above them, and I got short. You know what I mean? Like this would be an aggressive long, if anything, but definitely not a short until we get back below these four 1 minute
Uh,
dojis in a row,
Another thing
along
that
with
you
this
gotta,
5 minute doji.
yeah, always pay attention to the doji levels. I always used to draw horizontal lines right here.
Yeah, so actually that's what a lot of these blue lines are. These are on previous dojis.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I would have like you see this line is right on
yeah,
these dojis, and
yep,
this line
yep,
is right on these dojis.
yep.
But I didn't draw one on this doji because it's only one. But maybe I should just draw more levels. But then I'll just be levels out the
Yeah,
wazoo.
just like I would get rid of like I would draw it, and as soon as that level breaks or holds or whatever, and there's more recent dojis, then go with those.
Okay.
Um, but something that I was gonna tell you to point out is look at the moving averages, how flat they are.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
a
not
nut
decided.
that well, not necessarily that, but to me when I see them like this, it makes it easier for price action to bust through it. So if these were like more like this, right? Price action probably would most likely rejected those. Know what I'm saying? Instead
Yeah.
of being flat, it can pierce through them and retest them, just like
Hmm.
it did right here. See, it smashed it. Look at how flat it was. Like right here, it was in your favor. If it stayed like this, like slanted a little bit down like this, that would have been better. But as soon as you see, like if I see this one flat and I see the next fastest, right? Or the next slowest,
Hmm.
then I know price action is probably gonna go to that one. Just like see how this one's the next slowest and it hasn't even touched it? I'm willing to bet $100 that it probably went up and tagged it after.
Yeah, and that's actually so then I put out these two fishing orders here. Basically looking to see if this zone, this right here, could get at least just continual ranging in this zone. Um, this I got one on the right under the 100 and one on the 100 here.
For long.
I've got this other chart, that I attached the order to, the
Yep.
5 minute, the BRT chart. Um, but yeah, because ultimately, I think on the day thus far, it was one full stop, a target one and break even, and then one full stop again, and basically like four is going to be the absolute cutoff, trying not to get up to three. So I'm like, I'll go in and try to get right off the first tag 100 after the dump. Pretty high confidence. Try to go short there. So I have these fishing orders, and I actually got in uh, both these, and they shot right down. So I got it. So I got stopped out here, entered one there, entered another here, and then they just shot right down to my target and back tested the 1 minute 100. And yeah, there's that tag
Yep.
that you're looking for. You said tag that. That's the 200. So a bunch of moving averages, right, for confluence and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and then these two both shot that. Now, I mean, honestly, I probably should have just gotten in one position. I'm doing three micros right now. I probably should have gotten into one because if these two didn't hit, I would have just been done for the day. Um, but yeah, so then it went, I got in these here, took out one before the close of the green candle, one right on it. Um, got out those, and then it came down and hit my second target. So here's this 1 minute candle here.
Yep.
Took those targets, went down, hit another one. It blasted down here. So I took this one, this target here, and then it retraced on the doji, around the doji level. Um, and then it came all the way back up to the 50% of this candle. I'm like, okay, this can probably reject. But then when it went down, I could have put a target on like the 666 or something.
Yep.
But then when it came down here, back down to the original target, I just took it off. And then then we got down, we closed this big red full body, and then got a full body green, another full body green. So I closed one of my runners there, and left just the one. Um, with the stop, I don't know how I feel about this stop. Let's see what happened with it. Okay, so that stop did not, yeah,
Did
that
it hit?
stop did not hit. My stop was up here, and then ultimately I ended up catching like 100 point move to the downside.
Yep.
Um, and this stop, I don't like this stop either. I mean, I put a stop at a 50% of the red candle. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. That should be an entry, not a stop.
Oh yeah, or add point.
Yeah, right.
Or just keep an eye on it. If you got your runner on, just keep an eye on it. If it breaks back above the 50%, then you can stop. You could start thinking about closing it, right?
Yeah.
But if that wasn't your stop, your definite stop should have been right here because of this structure. Because usually it either come back and test that structure and reject or remount it and go up.
Okay.
But like always be paying attention to these little wicks because usually it rejects hard at that wick if it's weak, right? It'll
Yeah.
reject at the wick first before it even hits the body.
Right.
Just like I said a couple weeks ago, look at the 50% of the wick. If it rejects the 50%, most likely it'll be weak.
Right.
If it's, if you're in short, if it goes up to there, it should reject. If it doesn't and it stays glued, then it might start popping up and doing this.
Yeah. So after this one, I was pretty happy about catching this whole move downside, and then after this closed out, I actually don't remember what happened. My next screenshot is my trade at what time was that trade? It was pretty late. It was after the reopen. Let's see what happened. This was in the morning, 9 a.m. on the 29th. I think that was right, yeah, right back here. And that was, yeah, the 9 a.m. close, the 9:05 close, 9:15. Yeah, so that was actually a good trail stop. So I got trail stopped. Well, it was not a great because it was on the 50% of the candle. But yeah, ultimately it actually started higher lowing and then went long for the day. So I caught basically I tried to go this is where I took some losses on here in this area, and then ultimately I got into this short, and that's what came down here is what we're looking at in those pictures. So it's a pretty all right trail stop because and then yeah, I just didn't actually trade the rest of this for this day. Just took that for a win and moved on. And then at night, um, this was yeah, the 29th at night, I took one trade. Um, well, I actually took one good one, and then I had a string of pretty much impulsive trades that I didn't even pay attention to, like they didn't even recap. Like they were like just totally emotional trades. Um, or was that no, that was actually the 30th at night. So this 29th, yeah, I took one trade on the open. We had a the futures open, which was right here, this thin gray line, and we're clearly in the lower highs, lower lows on the 5 minute. We came back and we back tested this area here, which is this is about the 50% of this move. So if I take this structure continuation move, fib that out, I've got my two moving averages that I like to see reject on the first tag, the red and the green. We tag the red, closed above it, kind of shied the green, closed that red candle. I actually got into this short with a really tight stop loss. Once this 5 minute candle closed, this 5 minute green, I got in short right on the close and with a stop above it.
Yep.
So it was like a 10-point stop. Um, and ultimately caught a 20-point target. Yeah, I got out one, two, three there. Oh, these are actually, oh yeah, I was testing out different ATMs. So this is like taking multiple targets, and here is like my typical one where I held all the way to about 20 points, just on a shy of the close of this candle, not expecting it to break through straight away. And actually, this one, so it came back up and it hit my stop loss, and I just walked away. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done for that one. But my stop was actually too tight. I put it like before even the end of this 5 minute candle. Because if I go on to here, it actually continued, and I had a target to get all the way back down towards this structure. So that this short was here that I'm showing now. Or was it here? No, it was later. It was here. The short was here on the entry, and then I got out one there, and then it came up and it hit my stop um at this yellow line, and then ultimately just came down to hit my next target, and it did come all the way down to the structure. So this was a an 80 point, actually nearly 100 point winning trade, actually, yeah, near 95 point winning trade. And I had targets. Now, my target would have gotten shied. I was trying to get like down to here.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have hit. I'm pretty sure it would have shied, like where I actually placed it.
Yep.
It would have shied and then it would have gotten trail stopped out, but I would have gotten trail stopped out for 80 whole points.
Yeah, see,
Um,
squish it up a little bit, the chart.
yeah.
Yeah, see right there. Hold on. See how you were aiming for this structure, but this structure right here, or no, this structure right here, I'm sorry. Oops. This structure right here got retested. It broke it, retested, because this is the most recent, even though it lines up with this little mini structure right here. It retested it, and then you're looking for a short. So you want it to be in sequence still, right? Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs,
Yeah.
lower lows. When the next structure is broken, you want that sequence to stay intact. So where you entered up here is good because we broke this structure, created a lower low. So now you want to go for a lower high. You get it. And now, since we tested this structure, you want it to break through that structure
Yeah.
and then hopefully get down to here. So once you have that level there, you want that level to hold. Like it almost created a base right here. It almost would have done a fresh low breakout. Um, those are things that you got to be careful for. Because look at that big green candle. I don't know if it's green, but it should be green. That might have scared some new traders, right?
hmm
Because you're like, oh fuck, it's gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get stopped out. But you let it breathe. It should have came all the way down to your target. Once we break that structure, see how it held this structure right here? Now it started creating higher lows, and then we break this structure. This is what I kind of been telling you. Once it starts creating higher highs, when it breaks that structure, you got to be careful because it could go up.
Right.
But yeah, that was a good example of what we were just talking about, where it reclaims the structure here, even though you're targeting down here, or let's just say you're targeting down here, right? You get in short right here, you're like, oh fuck. it shined my structure down here. And you're like, oh fuck. Now it
Yeah,
reclaimed it right here. It broke the structure, and
yeah,
now I can hold the 50 GP and go up and start
yeah,
attacking these ones right here.
yep. Yeah, and this is a perfect example of that too, because then this leg here broke the structure. You could fib out that leg.
And it
Oh,
holds a GP.
holds the boggin nicely, and then it interacts very nicely with the 161 too, I feel. I mean, Shy's the 261 and all that. Um, ultimately, it looks like yeah, dumped further out in the next day.
Yep, and that's where being able to read that price action can help you reset, and maybe you could look for this entry over here,
Yeah,
because we broke this structure and then it retested it.
true. Yeah, let me fib that out. So ultimately that would have hit the freaking like tooth, but I don't really use 236 as a stop. I would have gotten in. I try to look for. It's like I like to get in on the green can. Like in this example, I would wait for a green candle. Like this one probably would have clipped me. Actually, I would have gotten in on this doji maybe.
The hammer.
Um, right here or this one because it. No wait, right here. Right here, because this is actually the back test. The structure wasn't broken until this point.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. If you stack the structure with the fib, you're gonna come out on top more often than not.
Oh yeah. So there's that one. Cut it early, just 'cause I was done. I'm pretty sure I had something to do. I don't even know, but cut that whole trade. Was out. I actually don't think. I wish I took a picture. I have to go back into my account. Yeah, I don't have one after this. I don't know if it. I don't know if I actually let it hit my stop or if I just closed it all for around 20. Because I remembered being up like 100, and I was like, all right, I think that's small financial goal for the next day done. But either way, that was that. And then yeah, Wednesday was it Wednesday night? All in like some of this action, and some of this action on over on Wednesday night too, just screwed with me a bit. But I've got more here from 5-1, which was yeah yesterday. This one here, I got what I saw as some confirmation on. So we're looking at this 5 minute here broke this structure, um, and but I didn't see any of that. I didn't really hop on until like 9-ish or 9:15. I think it was actually kind of late. And really, my entry was pretty late, but we made this gigantic 2 minute red candle here, and we back tested the close of it and then came down and I remember this entry logic fully. We came back down here and closed this green candle um, with this nice wick off the close, and then the price action started coming down under the close. So I'm like 10 points under the close of this green 2 minute candle. But we back tested the 50 RSI on the 5 minute, and it looks like we're kind of coming into a fake out. What looked like it could have been a 5 minute wave up, but ultimately was not. We hit my EMAs for the back test. I mean, we clearly hit the 50% of the structure here. And then I got in here for some momentum to continue down, at least back test like this. You know what I mean? Like typical open stuff where it's like ding, 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 right? I was like, we can at least come down to here. So I got in short. Basically, the logic was once this candle closed green and then price started failing under it, I got in for that short to continue. And I also saw that I kind of had like if it wanted to dump out, I had some 60-minute rolling action potential. So then ultimately it came down to hit that target. Did I extend that target? Yeah, I extended it just a little bit under the close. I hit that target and then I go break even on that position. Um, and yeah, it came up and hit that. So there's like a one target and then two break even.
Cool. Still a green
Um,
trade.
Yeah, it's still green. Like that's and then it comes back up towards here and this is kind of actually this is exactly what I kind of expected. That's why I had a target down at these lows and is because I was kind of thinking it would go like down, up in this range before
Hmm.
eventually deciding what it wanted to do. So then this is actually more of a entry to your liking probably. We get a green candle up towards here. It's about the 50% of this big red.
Yep.
And I just go in short for like a little bit of a snipe. And then it just slaps right down to both my targets. Actually, I had this target here. I just have like this default ATM, and I try to not move the first target.
Yep.
I try to get about 20 points. My second one is default 48, but I move it. So I actually moved this up a little bit, and I moved it to. I didn't want to ask for a fresh low. So I took one here at my 20 points, and then I took one at not at like just the low. So I don't even know what was that, 40? Yeah, 55, 15. Yeah, 40. I took that one. And then what did it do here? Yeah, it came back up and back tested the 50% of this 2 minute candle. And I added with a tight stop. I added with a pretty tight. I moved my stops down. I'm like, I want this to hold the golden pocket short. So I, got in here, took the target, and then yeah, added with a pretty tight stop here, just like an 8 point. Moved everything just to right above my position. And ultimately, that one worked out. It shot down to hit these two targets. I've got some different trailing stops.
Yeah.
Um, one tighter and one a little looser just for the runner. The 60-minute roll like hypothesis is kind of working out. But then ultimately like rocketed up. What do I have here? Ultimately like rocketed up. And I stopped out of the one here and then the second runner right here and just called it for the day at I think
Yeah,
like 340 or something.
that's a fresh slow squeeze right there.
Yeah, right. Classic.
Uh, Remember, you always gotta have in the back of your head if it's creating a base, especially with these three candles, even right here in this area, you gotta be super careful
Yeah.
because this could have happened easily on one of these candles.
Yeah.
Is you gotta think, okay, it's creating a base now. In order for it to go up, market needs to take out all the stops, and that's when fresh lows happen. This happened because it took all these stops out,
Right.
right? Where I mean, the first trade that you had, you should have just stayed in, and I don't know if there's any structure over here, but
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to that first trade. Oh yeah, I mean, I stopped at it because I don't want to like when I'm up 20
like that.
points, I don't want to hold all the way past my entry.
Yeah, well, not like your first trade was awesome, right? But then you decided to get back in short. I'm not saying not to. I'm just
Yeah,
saying be careful
yeah,
because shit like that can happen when you where it takes you out. It could have stopped you out somewhere up here, I guess, and then went to your target, stopped all the longs out, and then squeezed. So you just got to
yeah,
be careful and maybe just take one trade, especially when you see overlapping candles like this. You're like, something's gonna happen. It's building up. It's just building up pressure. You don't know if it's gonna shoot down or shoot up because it's in a downtrend, right? Kinda. But over here is coming from a chop, from a consolidation, dumps. So now you know that it took out all the bears or all the longs. So now I can go long.
hmm
Just gotta be careful. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. I want to get better at taking because really, if I fib out this leg here. Right, I could have gotten in here from the jump,
Yep.
you know what I mean, and caught all of this.
Yep.
Because that right there, it easily, it would, for sure would have been like the pocket.
Yeah, that and you got that structure support. Like I
Yeah.
said,
So
if that fib would right there would have lined up with this structure 50% right here, take it.
yeah.
Fucking take it any fucking time. And if it breaks above this dotted line or your GP, then call it and then reassess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I need to get more comfortable with getting in on the wicks more. Because for so long I was waiting for the like 2 minute candle closures.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
that takes adjustment too, because you're gonna be going against what you normally do, right? You get
yeah,
in, wait on the close, and you're like, fuck, I'm getting in right now. Right at the
yeah,
open of the new candle. So either get in at the last 10 seconds. That's something that the three no GP 5 minute candles has helped
yeah,
me to learn is okay, if the price action's close and it has no wick on the top or it has no anything is closer to the top of the candle,
right.
then I'm getting in there at the open of the next candle or the last 10 seconds of the 5 minute close. Be like, okay, it's right here. I'm gonna short it. It's gonna be a tight stop. It's either gonna squeeze up or it's gonna go down to the GP. So, yeah,
Makes sense.
that's just gonna take practice.
Yeah,
It's going against what normal thinking is, right? And that's what sometimes that's what causes FOMO is you longing or you shorting the bottom and longing the top of a candle. You always gotta think the opposite.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think I try to not do that because I really want to be with trend, but just being with trend doesn't mean waiting to short the bottom of the close of a red candle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if I'm with structure on 5 minute, I don't have to wait, I don't have to wait for the close as long as I'm with structure.
Yep.
That's my biggest thing is I never want to be I really want to try to not be against the structure because like these trades. Right, my yesterday trades, I was against the structure, trying to go long,
Yep.
and good entries didn't save me, or decent entry. I don't even think my entries were that great. But on this one, it's like I didn't have the best entries, but still came out on top because I was at least with structure. So that's why I just try to not call the trend.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
hard
was glad
not to
about
do.
that.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, that's the psychology. Everyone wants to catch the reversal.
Yeah, or catch the bottom of the reversal, right? Or catch the
Yeah.
top of a reversal. It's like that's not the game. That's not the plan of the game you should be playing. You should be, okay, it broke structure, and now I can wait for the new sequence to start up.
Yeah. Or just with structure. You know what I mean? Like I think also a lot of people try to wait till it breaks structure just to trade.
Yep.
But why not you can also just go with the structure that already exists, I suppose.
Yeah, like if it's with the trend, because you want the sequence to keep going, right? Like let's say, let's scan through some, uh, move your, show another screenshot. Let's see if I can find a good example.
Yeah, all right. So I can go through these.
Or
I've got
like
a
one right here, right? This is small
yeah.
example. Uh, so it's with trend, you're going up.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you're going up, and then look, you break the structure, retest structure, and now you're taking it because that structure was support.
Yeah.
And then you take it up to the next structure, whatever it is, or your next target.
Right.
Yeah, you wanna,
Yeah, today. Oh, you think?
yeah, you wanna be always pay attention to the structure because that's gonna tell you if it's gonna be support or resistance or
Yeah.
for continuation.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is actually today. These are actually today. Um, and today was a little sloppy. I think I was like 4-3 or 3-2 or something like that. We're gonna see. I'm just gonna flip through them. And I liked the long, remember, so this is that data candle from today. Um, and then what we came back down here and close started like kind of caught and made this nice green candle. And this one, I don't really like this for a first trade. I think, I mean, we back tested, I mean, really like the 70 RSI. Like we back tested the 50 on the 2 minute. I don't like this trade. I think it was too aggressive and it actually ultimately hit one target and then came back down to my stop. And really, this was super like it's funny when I look at this, I'm like, when I look at it in hindsight, I'm like, all right, this kind of looks like a structure break. So I should actually be going short around the 50%. But I took it too aggressive of a long on here. And then once that took one target and got stopped out, it came down to I'm like, all right, then I'm gonna wait for if it ducks under the 100, I'll try to wick it here, and if that gets stopped out, then I'll go for a two position right here on the first tag of the 100 and the first tag of like my 65 sort of thing, like right near. This was about the bottom of the golden pocket for this one, so I was like, all right, maybe open, it'll launch down. Um, but then it actually shied my entry. What did I do here? I got on this is a 1 minute chart on the left. It started wicking. And I got into a kind of tight stop, like a bit of a momentum. Um off of here with probably too late of an entry, but the candles moved pretty quick.
Yeah.
And this dark green is the 100. So really, I probably could have entered on this green doji, like a doji off the first tag 100. So I got
Uh-huh.
in long here, and this one actually came down, hit my tight stop, um, and then I re-entered here on the close of that 1 minute, and then it launched up and hit all of those targets, which brought me to about like 150 or 200 on the day or something like that. Um, it made a pretty nice bull hammer on the 5 minute right off the 100. So then I put a target like on a shy of the 261. I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, well maybe I got a good position here. Maybe we'll hold this 5 minute candle. This will come up and close full green, and then I can kind of just ride this. Um, then ultimately that went and got stopped out, and then I got into I don't know about this long either. I think it was too aggressive, but I had a tight stop again. Um, and we did have also a 1050 cross bearish, but it was kind of like I mean, I don't know. We were breaking above the 50 on the 1 minute RSI. So I thought that could squeeze out there. Um, we had a tight stop on that one. That one got stopped out. And then what is this? Yeah, re-entered on the long off the wick because I really my stop was too tight. I entered here. I had to stop just down here. And then it kind of bounced above the 50% of the wick, so I re-entered and then hit all of these targets to the upside and had a trailing stop again. Came down to hit that trailing stop, and at this point in the day, these are all of my trades. I'm like 0 and 1, kinda. Let's call that 0 and 1. Um, 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 2 and 4, right? So it's like because I'm using really tight stops because I don't really like this action too much. I'm 2 and I thought I was better. I thought I was higher win rate than that. 2 and 4, but still up like 150 or 200 or something like that.
If you don't like that action, why are you taking those trades?
Because I thought that I still had the trend right and I could take them with tighter stops. But honestly, the only one that I really liked would have been a long right off this doji, that 1 minute doji'd right on the 100 fib.
Yep.
That out of all of this is really the only trade I would have been quite happy with. So honestly, like this one, you know,
Which one? Oh yeah, the bottom one. Yeah,
this long is late.
it is. But
It's late, but it was at least correct. Um, let's see here. Yeah, and then yeah, so that got trail stopped out. We came down here and we back tested this doji that I should have gone long at.
yep.
And we wicked that. So I was actually pretty happy with this entry as well. We're kind of back testing the 100 for the second time. I get in long here with a stop just below the wick. I wanted this to be the wick. Up 10. I take what is that? One. I think I actually took a bunch of targets here. It looks like one, but I think I put them all together. So took those. Yeah, because I don't go break even until like at least 15. So took one and that came down and trail stopped me out in profit. Um, oh, you got
No,
structure there?
yeah, I was gonna say probably retested this and maybe rejected it and
Yeah.
went down.
Well, I'm still thinking that my overall bias on this day is we haven't hit the I should pull up my trade of eight. I've got didn't I fib out? No, I gotta refib that out. Let me throw these here. What's that fib? I'm not gonna worry about that fib. This was I was looking at these for higher time frame targets. Let me fib this whole thing out. Um yeah, I was kind of thinking that this was still playing out. Ultimately, and then if we hold above this like 4-2-3, we keep grinding out. Oh, look at that. Our drawings are coming true. Um, but yeah, so then yeah, so it did reject though, right? It rejected this bit of structure, rejected the close. We came back down and then we ripped right above all that and on the 1 minute we're about to close. So I got in here and I don't know, like this one I think too FOMO. Too FOMO because I'm pretty sure it hit like yeah, it hit one target and then I got profit stopped out again. Right. So get in here, hit one target, profit stopped out for a little bit. And then I realized, and I'm like, all right, let's get into the lows. So then what we've got this made this bit of a bull hammer here. I get in here on the 1 minute, right? So we came back down, we back tested the 100 again. I'm getting in at the low. We made these two wicks already. And then ultimately this one came up here and hit 1, 2, what? I'm in five. It came up and hit 1, 2. I think I took multiple here. And then I have a trail stop and it stops me out here and then this was today and then I just called it for the day. So definitely pretty sloppy. I mean, I think realistic, what is this? 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3. No, yeah, that was another one. So it's 2-3.
Yeah, to
Two
me
and
for some
three.
reason it looks like you're taking a lot of trades, even though you took one, two, three, four, five trades.
One, yeah, I don't know. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I took
Damn.
eight.
Yeah, that's a lot of trades.
I took eight. Yeah.
You should be just shooting for the Like this one was good entry, right? And then shoot for here and then just wait.
Yeah.
Wait to
Yeah,
see
I think
something else. Because that's a lot of chop. Sometimes that doesn't end well.
it is. And the only ones I'd say out of all these, I'm happy with this one was late. This one was late, but I'm happy with this one. Off the 100, off the 100 emo 1 minute. I'm happy with this one. Um, I don't like any of these. I'm fine with this one. This one down here that I got in, I took a target and got profit stop down. I'm fine with that one. It's not the best. Um, I think I'm kind of against the structure a little bit, but I don't think it's awful. It's kind of like at least I'm getting in at the low to come back up. And then, of course, I'm happy with this one again because we came back down and tested the 100 fib. Basically, I'm happy on the ones where I got in actually around my fib levels.
And
And I
that's
think
that
the
that's what I
rest
was
of them,
yeah, that's what I was about to say is it looks like some you're not even taking at your levels. You're just getting in because of something else.
just going for the momentum. I really got to work out. I mean, I got a few things. I hate saying my problems. I feel like I'm manifesting them. But there are a few things I got to work through. One is like everyone, a bit of FOMO, but what's worse than I'm an all right like I think trader and analyst. I've been doing it for about a year. I've been studying about a year and a few months. Um, so I'm still a novice. You know what I mean? It's like working out. Like everyone's a beginner lifter until they have like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like you don't play a year of baseball and you're still a beginner.
Yep.
So so it's like, those are fine, but really the two things I think actually really work against me are frustration and then and then this habit that I built up to take a lot of momentum trade, like taking trades at the level, just taking them is not what I've done for a whole year.
You gotta break those habits.
Yeah,
That's
I
what's
really do. That's what's what?
that's what's probably causing you all these trades that you shouldn't be taking.
Yeah, exactly. Like trying to get in with momentum. Because now I'm actually extending my stops because some of these like this one I got stopped out here and
Oh yeah.
barely and then had to re-enter. And really the stop should have just been wider.
Yep. It should have been
Yeah.
at the low of the doji.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. And I should have gotten in at maybe at the break of the doji at the latest.
What I used to tell a Zion cat is one or two ticks above the doji. So like right here somewhere. Or the moving average, right?
Yeah.
And then take it. If you miss that, you're chasing and it could end bad.
Yeah.
Because it could have easily went like this.
Yeah.
Take that stop out and then squeezed. That's what just happened right here. When you see big wicks like that, these are stops getting taken out. Took out all these steps, the fishing orders, right? Because the stops are fishing orders essentially. So it takes them out and it wicks up.
Right.
And you see that, you see the wicks up, then you'd be like, okay, the stops are taken out. Now I can wait. So two good trades would have been right here to the moving average, right? And then you can set up for because it has a base. Remember, every time there's a base, look for the fresh low. The fresh low is right here. Takes the stops out. And I'm not saying to get in on the fresh low. I'm saying like, okay, you get the fresh low, right? Now you got a higher low right here because we broke this structure. Even though this will be resistance, you still got to be careful. Even though we broke this structure, this can bounce right here, hit its head right there, and then go down. That's why
Yeah.
I'm always telling you or telling all traders is we got the fresh low, we broke the sequence, we got a higher high. Now you're looking for a higher low. Now, where is it going to be? Can it be right here? Can it be right there? Or wherever it's at right there? Um, but you want to see the sequence. Once you start seeing a higher low, you're like, okay, now I can get in. It hit my level. Now I can get in because it broke the sequence, got a higher high, higher low. Now, just because it's a higher high, higher low, right? It can do a higher high at resistance, which is right here. And now you're paying attention to this structure that it initially broke, right? Because you entered down here, right?
Right.
And the only way that I learned this was when I was on my cruise, I was only trading on my phone, only using price action and those break of
Yeah.
structure. That's all I was doing.
Right.
And I mean, I did pretty well. And I was just,
Yeah.
okay, I got a line right there. And now I want this price action to create a higher low off of there to put, now that we tested this resistance, now we can break through it.
On the 5 minute?
The 5 minute or the 1 minute, whichever one it is. If they both
Yeah.
line up, the better.
Right. Oh yeah, were you trading NQ on your cruise?
Yeah.
Phone trading NQ on the cruise.
And it was only
Epic.
using structure. Like that was the only thing that I was using. I was like, man, I can't. 'Cause I didn't want to reconfigure my phone because I was trading on Top Step X.
Right.
I did use the anchor maybe once or twice, and it lined up with structure. I was like, I'm just gonna use that because it just takes too long for me to try to anchor something on the phone.
Right. I mean, I feel like you're primarily a structure trader. I don't know. I don't want to put it.
I'm starting to be more of that, but I notice like I said, if you fib that out, it's probably gonna come down to the 60% and squeeze.
Right.
And most of the time when the fib lines up with this previous structure, I'm taking that trade.
Yeah, I noticed there's some stuff I gotta get straight in my head. It's that, so you said the 60%. Because really, if a move is strong, I feel like it shies the 50% a lot. Like it's either gonna shy the 50% or it's gonna break like a little through that. Like it's either gonna, yeah, squeeze at the 60 or it's gonna come to the 40. You know what I mean? But if it's actually really, really strong, it's often just gonna shy the 50.
Yep.
I mean, am I just kind of tripping, or do you think that might be a little
No,
accurate?
it's pretty accurate, but pay attention, watch, because when the 60 lines up with the top of the structure, uh,
Are you
it might just hit that and go.
right?
But when the 50 lines up with the structure, then it's probably gonna go down to that.
Yeah,
And then obviously the 38, right? Uh, so when I enter, I'll enter at 61 if it lines up with the structure. If it doesn't line up with the structure, I won't enter until the 51 is hit.
right,
So let's say the 61 and the 51 are above the structure and it lines up with the 38, then I'll put one at the 50 and then I might add at the 38. I'm usually not adding at all. I usually enter either my full position or if I think it looks not as strong, like it's just barely beginning to reverse or change direction, then I probably won't add during that time, right? But if I
right.
know that it's strong, but it could come down to the 38, then I'll put one at the 50 and at the 38.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if it's looking weak, then I'll just enter either a starter position or not a starter, just one contract position and not add. If I think it looks strong, I either have two add points or I just enter a full position at the lowest point.
Right. Hmm.
Uh,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
try to only take trades when they hit your levels, whether it's hitting a moving average or a fib level. Only then will you take a trade.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to use more fibs. I might cut back on a little. It's so many lines, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll cut back on some of these moving averages. Like I don't think I need this. Yeah, I mean, I like got this spaghetti. I don't think I need this orange one.
I think we got a lot. I
I
mean,
think I do
and
have
we
a
got
lot.
what, six we use? We use the 10, 50, 100, 200, and the 666.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I'm pretty close. I'm using right here the 5, 9, 15, 30, 65, 200. But I also got the 100. I
yeah,
am
see, like the 5 and the 9, I don't think they're too close for you to, like, what does that give you?
usually trend. I like try to watch for them to cross together and go and cross the um 15. Like kind of like those two around the 15 for trend, but maybe they don't really give me much. Maybe I can just sum them, put them together into one
Or don't
and
even put them together. Just
forget
try
about them
try to pay attention to,
to just structure.
well, not just that, but like the 5 and 9, that's only four different things, right? Or five different days of data different, I
Right.
guess. And then you have the 15. So that's a lot. And
Yeah.
it might start to confuse you. I'm not saying take them off right now, but pay attention to which one has a stronger trend. Like obviously when it breaks a 5, it can reject the 9 and then continue going down, right? But if it breaks a 9, when it breaks a 9, that might be a stronger break.
Yeah.
So then the 9 will give you a better trend uh trigger than the 5, even though the 5 can be the initial trigger.
Yeah.
But your initial trigger should honestly be the structure break. And then just use a 9 and then maybe the 15. I don't know. I'm not trying to change up how you're trading. I'm just saying it might be muddying the water with too many moving averages
Yeah.
that are not that you have too many moving averages. You just have a lot that are close together. Like
Yeah.
we go from the 10 to the 50. That's a big gap.
That's true.
Know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then from the 50 to the 100, and that's another big gap. And then 100 to 200, and then 200 to 666. That's why when I tell you the 200 crosses the 666, that's going to give you a possible reversal, right? Because
Hmm.
that's a large gap. But you have small gaps in between your moving averages, so it might fake you out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's no big deal. I think the ultimately whatever analysis or system I use, it's like ultimately my intuition's pretty all right. The only thing that's holding me back is the emotional part that I'm overcoming. So,
That's hard, dude. That goes with anybody.
yeah,
Even the people that I'm live training, they're already almost 8 or 9 months into trading,
yeah,
fresh, not trading at all to trading. And that's the hardest part that they have to deal with is their emotions.
uh-huh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's
And I'm glad you brought that up because next week we'll get into that more deeper. Because if you can control your emotions, when you can trade and not give a fuck, that's when you're gonna be way better. You're gonna be trading like a robot instead of fucking letting your emotions grab a
yeah,
grip and then put you on tilt or even me, like if I'm having a bad day or if I'm pissed about something at work or life or whatever,
yeah,
and I take a bad trade, like it's higher likelihood that I'll get put on tilt even with 8 years of experience than
Oh
if I
yeah.
have a clear head. And
Yeah.
that's why I tend to stick to my routine. Like we found this in finding my way with Easy, where you have to release those hormones, whether it's working out, walking, like hitting a punching bag, doing whatever. You need to
Yeah.
release that because if you don't, you're gonna get put on tilt a lot easier than if you were clear-headed.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a bag. I mean that's really like even though this is a lot of trades, right? Because I'm in this still have like a bit of a momentum, like a scalper mindset. I don't want to place orders on the wicks and stuff like that, even though I should. Ultimately, when I was trading this right here, I didn't really give a damn. Like I was the most drawdown I had at some point was I think like 120 bucks a drawdown maximum this whole time. And then ultimately, like cool and collected, came out on top. I closed my ninja. I think I was up 432 or something like that. Um, and what I thought that this could actually have been the low of the day off the 100 fib, and ultimately it was. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a 250 point winner. Um, but and then I say I was cool and collected, but really, really, if I was actually very calm, cool, and collected, I would have held this trade and not totally stopped out, trail stopped,
Yeah.
um, and would have had my conviction. Because like so for the last and it's really those moments like for a week, 2 weeks. I was pretty all right, trading pretty consistently small. I hit a big day, and then it's actually it's like on Thursday night I hit a big. Uh, it was like I was up like $1,000 or something, and then
And
it's
what's your
like
goal? What's your goal? What's your daily
it's
goal?
about 2 to 4. I'd like 500. I'd
You
like
doubled,
500, but
you doubled it, and you still decided to go trade more
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
on the same
Exactly.
account, right?
On the
Like
same account.
I would understand, okay, I hit 1,000 on this account. Now let me do this other account.
Right.
Not the same. If you hit your goal on any account, cut it. Like don't
Yeah.
don't hit it. Because I noticed a difference of when I hit my goal, called it. Because you want to get to the point where you're hitting your goal on one or two trades, boom, you're done. Let's lock it down. On to the next account or on to the next thing for the day. Right?
Right.
You don't want to risk taking that because you want to carry that momentum into the next day. That
Yep.
momentum is going to be the momentum is what keeps you going, keeps that streak going. Like right now, I have 2.5 months. I haven't been able to hit above 96 days. That's my record, 96 days green.
Mm.
When I first heard Brandon, oh, I got 90, I got 80 days, I'll be like, that's my next goal, right? Because I'm pretty consistent at hitting my daily goals. So I
Yeah.
needed another goal. Instead of raising my daily goal, I said, well, instead of raising my daily goal, I'm going for consistency. So my goal is to, okay, first goal, 14 days straight. Okay, got that. Okay, next goal, 30 days straight. Got that. Okay, next goal. I don't know. Okay, Brandon, he says he's got 82 days. That's my next goal. 82 days straight.
Yep.
Hit that. And then I got a red trade. Every time it seemed like every time I would say, "Oh, my streak is 90 days," the next day I would fucking get a red day or take
Yeah,
a
it's
flat.
like right when you celebrate it. That's why I was doing pretty good for 2 weeks and then actually hitting this big fat green day. I did something to my mental. I turned around and fucked that account up.
That's
And
the
I'm like,
euphoria of that's like you're being blinded by love, right? But you're being blinded by euphoria. You're like, fuck yeah, I got this shit. And then you're not being fully aware of the chart, and then you get tunnel vision. Oh, I got this. I know I got this. It's gonna go here. It's gonna do this. It's gonna do that, and it's gonna hit my goal. And then you get in, and you're like, fuck. And then you zoom out. You sit back, and be like, oh man, I shouldn't even be in this trade.
right.
And that's that euphoria. I call it. I always used to tell Dell, or says like, yeah, you're gonna be hitting those streaks, and you're gonna think you got it, and then it's gonna be that one thing where you get so confident that you just take a trade you shouldn't be in, and you're like, fuck,
Right.
and it fucks up your streak, and then you're back. You're like, damn, and then you start questioning yourself, or you start asking questions. You're like, fuck, just gotta let it go. You gotta learn to
Right.
let it go, right? Let the
Yeah.
emotions go.
Yeah, and that's why I said that you can tell me what you think of this. And honest, I don't think I'm gonna trade. I think I'm gonna trade Sim for probably the next 2 weeks again. I feel kind of like I don't know if I should, keep hopping myself back on training. I don't know, but then yeah, what I'm thinking is to avoid that is essentially because really, if I've got like five of these freaking leveraged accounts, like $100 a day is enough. You know what I mean? And 200 is would be plenty. So looking for like a goal of about 500, but I want a like a financial goal and then like a nice goal and then an absolute stop, like a max daily profit. You know what I mean? You
Yep.
think that's too complicated, or should I stick with one goal? Um, because what I like is that if I'm over 100 and if you have a goal like 500 and you're like one quarter of the way there, it's like and the day is not looking too great, it feels lame to stop. But if the goal is low in the first place and you're hovering around 150, it's like, well, I have multiple accounts, right? And I'm already at my financial need. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm looking at like 100, 200, 400. And basically, if I hit 500, I will not go below four, is kind of how I'm looking at it right now.
The the thing that I used to do is I used to have a monthly goal and just break that down,
Yeah,
right? Because there's gonna be some days, right? So let's say my goal was like 150, right?
right.
Because I wanted, let's just say I wanted $600 a week. There's gonna be some days that you miss your goal and some days that you surpass your goal. So always have that in your back of your head. My goal is $600 for the week, or let's just say your goal is $500 for the week. So one day I don't know if it helped me hit my daily goal faster because when I first started out, yeah, my goal was 250, but I always used to hit it on four trades, four trades, four trades, four trades, right? Consistently, I could hit 250 on four trades on micros.
Right.
So then after I did that for 2 weeks, I would try to just leave the same goal, but instead try to hit it in two trades.
Yeah.
So it would make me more picky instead of just trying to take every fucking trade. Oh, I hit the level, I'm getting it. Oh, I hit this, I'm getting it. Oh, it looks like this, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Um, so then I would hit my goal in two trades. And then I'll be like, okay, now I'm ready to bump it up. Now I'm ready to bump it up to 300 or 400,
Uh-huh.
right? Because I can hit 250 on my first two trades. Cool, I'm already halfway there. I bumped it up, even though my daily goal went up, my weekly goal was still the same. So it would have a weekly goal of 600, but a daily goal of 400. That means that in 2 days, I can essentially hit my weekly goal.
And then you just stop.
And then I wouldn't stop. I would just keep trading. And I'd just be like, okay, because the next couple of days, I could have a red day and give some money back. So you just keep hitting it. But on those other days, like let's say I hit my weekly goal in 2 days, then the other days I'm just ta trading one or two trades. That's it. So like that, I'm not over trading. I'm hitting my 250 or $400, and that trains you to hit your goal in 1 to 2 trades instead of, because your first goal should be consistency, not hitting home runs. That's why you start with the small goal and you prove to yourself that you can hit that goal consistently, right? If you have a prop firm,
Yeah,
break the $3,000 down into divide that by 20 days. Uh, and then that should be your goal. Work that up and then slowly, just like that, follow it, right? Try to hit your goal, your daily goal in 4 trades max. 5 trades as an emergency. The fifth trade is an emergency trade.
right.
Uh, uh,
Sounds good to me.
because
Yeah.
you don't want, I know some of us take more than 5 trades, but I honestly think you shouldn't be taking more than 5 trades.
Yeah. I
Because
think the transition from momentum to more levels will do that. Help me do
that, and
that.
then you want to figure out what your best window is. Is it power hour? Is it opening? Is it pre-market? Is it after hours? When is your biggest success rate? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it at night, in the evening? You want to
I
start
think.
you want
Oh
to
yeah,
start to figure that out. So
yeah.
like that, you'll be like me, I figured out my 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I shouldn't even be trading. I can call stuff out. And yeah, it might work in my favor sometimes, but I shouldn't be trading because I have the uh I shouldn't be just risking money just to risk it. And
Right.
there's been some plays that I've called out in the no trade window that I have, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., right? Because I always say that's a scam time window. That's also my numerology, no, bad time. Uh, but you shouldn't be, you should try to figure out when the best window is. Like Phantom, he says power hour, he has the best success rate. He says, yeah, for some reason I can read power hour like no other, but the opening is just chop. I just see chop. And you're gonna start to see that, be like, oh man, I can't see a play in the opening 15 minutes. But as the day progresses, you're like, oh shoot, it's already 9 a.m. Oh, this is my time. I can do good at this time. Now let me see. Now is there gonna be a trade at the same time, the same window every day? Probably not. But like I told you 2 weeks ago, always try to trade your grade A setup first. If you haven't figured out your grade A setup, I think the third week we kind of discovered your grade A and your grade B. Um,
Yeah. So the one thing I don't like is essentially that I feel like what we looked at was a structure break, right? So then I'm waiting to take what a grade A after the whole structure shifts. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I don't even I mean it's really hard. I feel like that like identifying a real true grade A. I actually what I really do actually is when structure is when I'm with structure and I get a first tag of either of these two red or green EMAs or just fibbing out structure. I mean, like, if is that enough for like really a grade A? Like just structure and maybe first tag of significant moving averages? I don't think that's enough.
It can if you stack it with MACD and a moving average or a daily or a weekly fib.
True.
It just depends, right? If you do the
Yeah.
previous day fib and you know that the first play is to the golden pocket of the previous day and you see higher lows inside the previous day candle, then you can shoot for that, right? Because you have the macro play, but you're taking the micro trade
Yeah.
to that target. It's just something that you got to play around with. Uh, will help. I, I thought your grading was with the fib, with the structure, and your moving average.
Yeah, essentially, right? Fibbing, yeah, the fib, the structure, and the moving average. So right here, this is actually why that's part. I mean, that kind of so right off this doji, which is off the 100 fib and off my red moving average. So my
Yep.
30 EMA. Um, that is what I would kind of consider to be that. Right, but then it's like, how do I determine is it still a grade A if I'm longing the 100 instead of the pocket? I guess yes, if we've gotten to the 161.
No. If it hasn't
No.
got to the 161.
If it has not gotten to the 161, then
Yeah,
taking it
because
off the 100.
yeah, because that's from the 100 to the 161. Because when price action shies a level, it always retraces back to the level. Whereas it hit the 161 and now it can recycle. Because now, right, you said it hit the 161 right there, right? Sometimes what it
Yeah,
do, it'll do this, hit the 100, create a lower high, break the 100, not hit the GP, create a lower high below the 100, and then hit the GP.
true.
Because this was already there, where let's say this is the 161, it shies it, now it can hit the 100 for support, and then go back and tag the 161, and then it'll decide either come back down and recycle or bust through the 161 and go up.
Yeah,
But that's the elite strategy, right? If it's called the 161 shy. Waves, you can attest to it. That usually I like to see, like, say the 161's way over here. I like for it to break, you fib out the data candle or whatever fib you have. I like for it to go like halfway, come down, hit the 100, create a higher low, and then go up to the 6-1 or 161 to create a higher high. And then that would be my target, right? But if it hits a 161, now it can start cycling back down because there's no price action. That also depends if the GP was uh hit, right? So if it hits a 161, be careful because if you take it off the 100, it could bust through. It hit the 161, so now it's gonna hit the 100, act as support, be like, oh, I got it, and then it's gonna do this.
true.
But let's say like this candle hit the golden pocket or something, and now that's another scenario where the 100 could be support because it's still in sequence, right? Because you got the higher low right here, you got the higher high up here, and now you got a higher low at the 100.
Yeah,
So those are the two scenarios where the 100 could be support. If the pocket's already hit, right? Let's just say this one hit the pocket, right? And then it shies a 161. Now it can create a higher low off of the 100 and then go to the 61 or 161, right? Now the other way is it doesn't hit the golden pocket. It does not hit the golden pocket, but it shies the 161. Now it can 100 can still be support because it's creating a higher low. Now, if it's stacked up with the moving average like it is right here, that's your zone, right? Because it could break the 100 a little bit, tag the your moving average, and then go up. If it's not stacked and there's no, like let's say the 100 was right here in the middle where there's no moving averages close by, then that's a weaker support. So you got to be careful because it could come down all the way to here before going to the GP and then catch it, hit the 161 and then come down.
yeah,
So you got to take the fib in context. Has the GP been hit? Yes or no? Has the 161 been hit? Yes or no? And those are things that you gotta have, you gotta have in the back of your head. But if the level's already hit, the next time it hits, it can bust through it. Or be a weaker support if the level above it was already hit. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Kind of going out actually in levels and zones based on the tags. I mean, yeah, I mean, it makes good sense actually just looking at this one too, because we get a close above the 100, right? And then we back test the 100, and then after closing above it again, go up to the 161. So yeah, that makes sense. And then the 100 did really get wicked pretty hard for a nice win, but ultimately we actually never hit that GP on the day. So I guess today is kind of like an anomaly. Today's like perhaps there wasn't exactly a grade A setup. Maybe it was like this.
Yeah.
Maybe this one was like a B plus. But it sounds like the point is that a grade A would have been actually back testing the golden pocket. Because I think this is pretty rare for this 5 minute candle to get no golden pocket tag all day.
Yeah. And now for Sunday or Monday, this could come back down and tag that GP.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you, like I said, you have to take it in steps, right? Because yeah, it can come all the way down to this GP, but you have this structure, you have that structure, and then once you get rid of those two structures, you got this structure, and then you got this structure.
Right.
Just always be paying attention to structure. Be like, okay, if we break this structure, we can go down to this structure. If we break that structure and we bust through it, then of course the next target's down here.
Yeah.
And then we break the 105th, the next target is the GP. We break the GP, the next target's this structure down here.
Right.
So you're just taking it up and down, right? If there's no structure over here and it's just a leg like right here straight down, then all these right here are your battle areas, your
Yeah.
battlegrounds, right? But since there's structure right here, there's a little bit of structure right there. Gosh dang it. There's a little bit of structure there and here. So those are your first two battlegrounds. And then if you get past those two, obviously you got this one and this one. This one might be stronger resistance since we're below it, because we have this structure behind it too. So that whole area right here might create a lower high. Hit his head right there. You should see it reject hard right there because you got two types of structure. And then you should see it attack
Mm,
this one.
that makes sense.
Uh,
Yeah. Let me fib this out here too, actually, while we're looking at this. Yeah, it's a nice one right there. Hmm.
so see
Okay.
how those pockets, see how the GP lines up with that structure that I just pointed out? Yep.
Yeah, right here.
Yep. So that should be resistance. And look at the second time it went into the GP, it didn't even come close to the 50%.
Yeah.
And it's still in sequence, right? Remember
Hmm.
I told you when we first started, if it starts creating higher lows inside the GP, take it. Right here, it started creating lower highs in the GP, and then it hit the 61, and then it went down.
Yeah, looking at those lower highs in the 5 minute time frame is a little tough. You got to look right at the wicks and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. For me, for some reason, my eyes pick up the body a lot easier, but the technical structure break is breaking through the wick as well, not just the body.
Right.
But cool. Thanks for sharing your trades. We'll cut it there for this week. Next week we'll jump into more of the psychology and emotional part, just to try to give you some tools or tips to help you regulate that and keep that in check. Because
Yeah.
That's something we used to jump in. The psychological part, we used to have 2 weeks, the first week, and then probably like the sixth or seventh week, we started jumping in. But the seventh week, it's more advanced psychology where it's market psychology, where the first week it's trader psychology, right? Because there's trading psychology and then there's market psychology, which
Right.
is sell the news, buy the rumor type of stuff. What is the what is a market trying to do? What is a market? How is a market trying to screw you type of psychology, right? Because you need to understand that type of psychology so you can be on the right side with the market instead of against it.
It. Right.
But cool, we'll chop it there.